What's wrong now?
Nothing. It's just always, it's the same thing. It's always, it's so close. That's like the first thing I want to say is it's so close. I think it came off the trailer last night and Luke was tired. He got back from dyno and then just came off and he just sat like that. It does settle. Yeah, that's a lot of bypass shaft. I wish I could be more celebratory about this. Because people, so last Monday, James came with his crew to like film this whole thing. And we had no body panels on it, but it was running and it was solid. And it was an incredible day. I had kind of a rough morning. We were talking about another car that we took some misses on. And then James and I, by the time the sun was setting, we were in the hills with headsets on in the Frontier, like talking to each other through the comms, waiting for the spotter to tell us that we were good to hit this big old booter. And we had this flawless test session in the hills. So I'm really happy we got here. I think the greatest thing to me is the commitment thing. I made a commitment to finish this for James at all costs. That something now I kind of always coin it like I would never do this for anybody else again unless it was for my wife or my kids. We're here now. We're back from the dyno. We've sorted the issues that it had. There's one more issue. The power steering is running hot. Got to look at that because I feel like we checked all the boxes for our systems and the lines and the sizes and everything. This is the Frontier update. I walked out here with Joey and I'm like, I chuckle because I'm like, I look at things and I'm like, oh, it's so close. And now it's down to like funny stuff. Like I'm like, oh, the latch for the one piece, or there needs to be a zip tie or provision for the headlight harness, just the mesh is not in the back. But that's the level of close we're at now. We are gonna do shock tuning the week of the 22nd. Then we're gonna bring it to Off-Road Expo. It was at dyno with FTA Incorporated in Hesperia with Matt and Josh. Luke ran it up there and we were pretty sorted and then we weren't. And then it was fuel delivery. It was cleaning gunked out injectors. It was having a cold bank on one side of the engine. And then it turned into pulling the fuel cell apart, getting all their, we missed, right? So we should have just taken the fuel cell right when we got the car, or at least when we were final assembling it, and clean the whole thing out. I feel stupid about that. It is what it is. Every lesson in my life is something I have to fail at to learn. So, you take a car that's been tossed around for years. You do not assume that the fuel filter or the fuel bladder is clean inside. You clean the thing out. Now I look at it and I'm like, yeah, dumbass, for sure. So Luke pulled everything out of there, cleaned everything while it was up at the dyno. Cleaned the injectors while they were up there. Cleaned the fuel rails, added a post filter for the fuel return, cleaned all the fuel filters, got it on. I think it was let me get the exact numbers. 363 horsepower and 402 foot-pounds of torque. So not bad for a 6-liter LS3 spec. We figured 500 horse. Luke messaged me. Like I said, I sent Luke up there. A lot of these tasks doesn't make sense for me to leave and do them. It makes sense for my guys to go take care of them while I can run the shop, run the projects, and make money the most efficiently that I can instead of driving cars around just for the pride of going to do it. I don't need to do that. So Luke handled everything. They blew this whole thing apart. I'm talking windshield was out, lights were out, panels were out, all kinds of stuff blown apart just to work on it there. It was there for 3 days. Thank you guys so much, Matt and Josh, for taking care of us. Huge deal. The glass is on now. By this time, we will be allowed to post this video, but it was a kind of a thing where James wanted to hold off. Cameron took care of this. Cameron is with CM Motorsports. That sounds right, in Riverside. He painted the rest of the glass for us. He resprayed it. We had a drift guy that James had do for free, and you know how the free thing goes. So we needed something that made sense for the truck, and it's single stage. It's something where if it gets scratches, he can just cut it and buff it, or someone can. And it's all on and done. So it's solid. The only thing they were saying at the dyno is that it's running hot. The power steering is running hot. Just through the dyno poles, it's running hot. But other than that, it's solid. You can see there's sand down here. That's the one thing I noticed when James and I were driving it. This whole thing's been powder coated and sandblasted and powder coated, the whole body and chassis. There is a unlimited amount of sandblast media that keeps coming from the car. I don't know where it's coming from, but it just, every time we'd hit a jump, it would be and it would land on us. So it keeps coming until it's not, or we're just gonna supplement it with Glamis and Ocotillo sand. Things to think about here. All this engine compartment, let me see if I can operate from the other side if that's too bright. I don't know if the light's like making it too crazy. The engine compartment has the same heat deflection on it, but it's on the inside and it's still not enough. It gets really hot here. This is tolerable, but if your leg does touch this, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does. It's a quick, ooh, you feel it. So what we're gonna wanna do here is build a standoff plate where we'll build like a 063 aluminum plate that has like a 1/2 inch standoff from this surface where there's a space in between, and then we'll put heat deflection on the opposing side of that, and it'll be like another barrier. We just need to get some air in between the heat. The middle lines here get hot, but I'm not really concerned about those. Those are never really a subject unless maybe someone puts a water bottle on there and it sits for a long time after a hard run. Little things we had to do to button it up. Some of the wiring, we had to notch some of this, like this is that pod, so we had to pull the upholstery back, notch that, same for the other side. Tidy up a lot of stuff. You can see the bedsides are on. Caleb did a pretty good job putting those on, but they came out really good. The fitment's really nice. This is definitely just gonna live as a void, just a breakup where you can get a good shock detail, you can get good cooling through there. There is extraction on this portion that'll get mesh. The mesh, is gonna stay stainless. I thought about doing it black, but I think it just needs a little bit of breakup. Exhaust is in where it needs to be. Awesome detail. The other thing I noticed is powder coat. There's all this gloss here, and this is satin or a semi-gloss, so we're gonna want to figure out what we want to do here, and I think like the front hood area is gloss. Same thing, we need to put mesh into here, but we're probably gonna want to finish out the exhaust bezels with gloss, just it's too close right here to be contrasting where it's a different finish. Tail lights just aren't in, but they're working. So this is as assembled as it's ever been. Dead pedal sitting in there just because Luke had to pull it. Kind of see the guts, right? Everything's pretty close. So fresh header wrap because we had to modify the headers. Everything's pretty dialed now. There's a lot of just like exposed wiring and systems in here that kind of are just gonna live like that. We got this pulled for the blinker. We're gonna try to put blinkers on this thing. Again, you can see the notch here that we had to make. But other than that, the handbrake works great. All the systems work, comms work. Truck feels super planted. We probably already hit that thing, you know, the booter over by the shop, maybe 100 feet or so. Everything felt super sturdy. The car you're able to drive very fast right off the bat. Obviously sitting really high right now. One thing I did notice is on droop, the drive shaft does have a vibration. So I want to see if there's some kind of clearance issues going on where it's putting the U-joints in bind. But it's really only on droop. But it's going to be something, especially if you're going through big holes, that you will notice. So I don't think we need to re-gear or anything. I think we're good with that. But really, it's just going to be a matter of figuring out, you know, driveline angle. Oh, one of my favorite people right now. He's coming. He's coming right now. He's over there. It's Alex Morgan. I said one of my favorite people are here. Do you guys want to just go for a drive? I feel like that's the best thing to do. I'm so disconnected from this stuff. And I wish, for me lately, it's like having moments to ground myself, to have gratitude. There's a market nearby, and my kids, they love to go. I put Enzo on my big 250, and then Logan rides his dirt bike, and we ride to the market after work, and that's their thing. They love it. We go on the street, go to the market, they pick out some candy, we come back, and it's an epic thing. And some of those little times while the sun's going down, those are beautiful. Because I feel like I've fallen, like I'm desensitized, and I need to look at this in the bigger picture, and sometimes it takes longer for me to have that set in. You know, if I look at this as a whole, of the opportunities we get, or the fact that we get to build cars like this, it's a dream. And then I get to, you know, see this thing finished for James, and we got through this, and I think it just takes time for that to bleed in. Because like I said, I wish I could be super celebratory about it, but I'm just like eyes on the prize. Make sure the car's good, make sure everything works, make sure everything's finished. And I think once James has it and he's using it, and I can see it like in the air and being abused essentially, I'm gonna be very satisfied. But right now, I'm grateful you guys have been along for the ride and to support us, and I think we should just go for a ride in this. Let's just like go down the street or something, and I'll show you how it turns on, and we'll just feel it and listen to it. It's gonna be loud. We made it as simple as possible, where he just turns the battery on, he turns the ignition on, he just bumps the start, and that's it. So it should be like a very fail-safe situation. Let's do it. I can already feel as the steering is a little harder. There's a bushing assembly in the column here. It's not like, there's two different assemblies usually you run. You either run this bushing one, or you run a press-in bearing one. Besides like a hot rod steering column like an I Did It, there's those two. So You know, anytime there's welding, this is just a poly bushing, so there's a little bit of that where it's like sticky but not, and I think that'll just loosen up over time, over use. But you know, the one thing is the power steering. We really want to get that sorted because it's just getting hot and I don't understand what that really is. I smell a lot of fluid right now, so I'm gonna get out and I just want to check everything, because it's just either got a stink from the dyno or it's got something I can see. So there's smoke coming out right by the oil filter, and it's putting it on the header wrap. And I think it's just residual from when it was there, but I don't really feel comfortable risking any of that and not cleaning it up just for us to get some shots of it going down the street. So we're gonna bring it back in and park it until it's good. It's just not worth it. Good part, truck is 30% more responsive and more power than it had. So we were lacking. I was discouraged when we first drove it because I was like, oh man, we might need a re-gear. It can't get out of its own way. Now it's like dialed. It feels super good. Like I said, power steering, wrap that up. Look at this oil thing because the filter's got a lot of oil on it. Just see if something's, just wrap things up, comb through them. We're this close. Button up the lights, latches on, things we just had to order, mesh in, get this thing prepped for testing. So expect bar stow test. Like I said, late September. Is that what we're in now? Man, I swear, by the time it's Wednesday, it's Friday, and then it's Monday. Just be ready for testing. That's what we're gonna do. So we'll get this car prepped, and then we'll bring it to Off-Road Expo. It'll be, you come see it. It'll be with Tara. And we'll have the wheelie somewhere else, but we'll talk about that on another episode. Thanks, guys.